and I've lived there since 1996. I raised my children here. I've served as the president of the Marco Island Chamber of Commerce, and I honestly cannot imagine anywhere else I would rather live. But something has come to my attention, and it's moved me to speak to you tonight in public. The other day when my daughter drove into our driveway, a gentleman was standing in front of our house, and he asked if he could buy some of our coconuts. She said he could have some for free, and he said he would return later. She gathered a few coconuts, some ripe mangoes, and some bananas from our garden, and she put them in a box with a note for him. She told me about the ban, and later when I was in the yard, he and some of his family members approached. I went to speak with them, and the woman mentioned, all smiles, that this was the first time she'd ever seen mangoes growing on a tree. She said they were visiting from Pennsylvania. I noticed the older gentleman had a cap on with a naval vessel CV-10 embroidered on it. My father has a similar cap with a World War II vessel that he served on, so I asked about the cap. The man said he'd been rescued from the water by the U.S. Navy. He told me that his family are originally from Vietnam. We gave them a box of fruit from our yard, and we wished them well. We live on a canal, and they were renting a few doors down the canal that we share. We did not hear any sounds from them. But the following evening, the man rang my bell, and he asked if he could show me something, and he handed me a folded piece of paper, and he said it had been taped to his front door. It said, "To the renters." I'm going to read you the letter that he received and shared with me, but I'm going to take out the vulgar word and replace it with garbage heap. Dear renter, I would like to ask a small favor, if I might. After reading this sentence, fold this note, place it in your pocket, and go outside away from your group for 30 seconds. I'll wait. Quiet, huh? That's how it is in a good neighborhood. Peaceful and quiet. That's what everyone in this neighborhood pays such a high price for. That's why you decided to rent here. It's a nice neighborhood. You could have decided to rent in some, here's where the vulgar word is, and I will put it garbage heap, where dogs bark, music plays, kids scream, and adults party until 2 a.m. But you didn't. You chose this nice neighborhood. The thing is, you can't act like you're in a neighborhood while you're in a nice neighborhood. You can't, I beg your pardon. The thing is, you can't act like you're in a garbage heap neighborhood while you're in a nice neighborhood. If you do, then a nice neighborhood would soon be a garbage heap neighborhood. I've talked to most everyone who owns it in this neighborhood, and they would like it to remain nice. Interestingly, we are all baffled at the idea that anyone would act in such a disrespectful way toward the residents of a neighborhood you're renting in. I myself have rented for over 20 years across the world. Not once did it occur to me that I could act like a loud, obnoxious cretin. I can only assume you are either blind to your own actions or immature to understand that by being disrespectful or annoyingly acting like animals. Normally, we are a welcoming neighborhood, but not to you. Your ilk is not wanted here. Go back to whatever garbage heap neighborhood you call home. Don't come back to this one. In fact, don't go to any other neighborhood. My guess is they won't want you either. If you want to vacation, go to some sleazebag hotel on a barren highway. Let your children run and scream at the top of their lungs there. Act like you've been outside of a barn there. Sincerely, everyone who's had to listen to your children's BS this week. I assure you that I was not consulted, and I don't know who wrote this hate-filled letter. I am horrified that this level of hate was directed at anyone. We live in paradise. There's no room for hate here. Hate is poison. I don't know how pervasive this racial intolerance is on Marco Island, but we need to nip it in the bud. We cannot let it become an invasive species that's threatening our island. As the preeminent leaders of Marco Island, I would like your concurrence that hate does not reflect our community or its values, and to denounce racial intolerance.
Thank you.